hope you enjoy learning a little bit about bees. There's so much to learn, and it was absolutely fascinating. I urge you to plant some varying flowers that bloom throughout the year and keep that bee population working for us.
Urban sites have actually become somewhat of an oasis for beekeeping. People think, oh, bees belong in the country, but actually the urban bees are actually outperforming the country bees. There's always something blooming. There's nothing special about the queen bee, the egg that makes a queen. It's the way they feed it. A larger cell, and they feed it royal, sort of royal jelly. Bee babies get royal jelly for the first 3 days, but then they're switched to something called bee bread, which is kind of a combination of pollen and honey smushed together. If they want it to become a queen, they'll continue feeding it royal jelly. Is that bees are vegetarian. The only thing they eat is nectar and pollen. Anything that's buzzing around you or your food, that's always a wasp. Wasps are interested in people food. They're aggressive because they'll kill any other bug. The only reason you'll get stung by a bee, like I said, is if they're in a flower and you go to pick it or something. If you don't see them, if you grab them. Honeybees are hoarders, which is why we can take their honey, harvest their honey, and like if you're a conscientious beekeeper the way we are, still leave them plenty of honey to feed themselves over the winter. The male bee's main purpose in the society is to impregnate the queen. The female bees will feed them and groom them, and for the most part keep them comfortable through the summer. There are hangout spots.
Really?
Where the boys will all hang out, wait for young princesses to fly by, mate with her in the air if they're successful, the successful ones. She'll mate with 5 to 12 suitors, and after they've finished mating, she will clench her genitals and contain his inside of her, and he will fall off and die. And she keeps all of his goods inside of her, and so she has all of the sperm inside of her that she'll need for her life. All we give them is this frame, the wood, and they'll hang from each other in chains, and they have another gland that produces wax, and it pops out, and they'll mold it, and they make all of this in perfect hexagons. That's babies, and this is honey.
So it depends on the flower. The color of the flower is the color of the pollen that they bring in.
You'll see orange, you'll see red.
It's really,
Look at like that. There's even kind of a green.
The waggle dance is full of information. They dance in the direction from the hive in terms of the sun, and how hard they're wagging is how good of a sight it is. How many flowers there are. See them actually chewing their way up.
Sorry, I'm just gonna get close.
It'll come out and start cleaning. It'll clean out its cell. It knows what to do.
we are watching the birth of a bee.
There it is. Do a lot of resting.
Yeah. And they'll clean up their hive, their cell where they were born, and then they'll clean up some of the cells around them. And then they'll graduate to being a nurse bee, and they'll start taking care of the other baby bees in the nursery around them, being a defender bee, or they might build wax, process the nectar. And then the very last thing, it's the most mature bees only that become forager bees. That's your last thing as you go up, because it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Thanks for being with us. Buzz, buzz.
See you next week. Bye.
There can only be one queen.
I went skydiving, I went Rocky Mountain climbing, I went 2.7 seconds on a bull named